What's going on, traders? Are you guys catching this monster rally? This is exactly how the institutionals can put those retails right on the side. And it seems to me this is a clear day where it might have been good to trade after usually the retail hour of 10:30, right? 9:30 to 10:30 when retail trades. Well, guess what happened? Let's just look at the charts. The charts say it all, man. Look at this. 10:35. Okay. Now let's drive this market. Retail's out. Let's do this thing. Look at the drive, guys. What a move. And I was looking at it when I could see kind of the SOX L continuing up to the up end, and look at the breakout there in SOX L, 7% higher. I was talking about Apple. It was right off of this level here. It went what? Another 1% higher from that. Not a bad move there. A couple of points on that one. Microsoft going higher. Meta continuing the strength that we saw. And TSM was a clear spot to me that showed me that, man, they wanted to rally tech today. And it held it all. There was a time, and I always pay attention, you guys, to what? Sectors and industries, right? What is in the green? What isn't? Well, there was a time when everything other than tech was red from the open. Of course, what I talked about on live trading was, well, if this is going to continue happening, can tech lift the whole market today? That's exactly what happened here, guys. Tech just pushing, and pushing. And where did the two biggest areas come from? Semiconductor equipment materials and semiconductors themselves. NVIDIA, not a bad day there, but there was some bigger moves out there. AMD up there to 119.50. What a move on AMD. If you were able to get it off of that kind of down action below 100, that's already made like a 25% rally. This is how the market a lot of the times will do it to you guys. And I put this and I created this on the 16th. Why did I create this on the 16th? I was wondering, would we get back up to this area? And there you guys have it. We're almost in that area. I just got to pull it to the right. We're in that box. AMD going higher. Intel. Yes, I caught it, team. I can see you guys talking about that one in the chat. EKS talking about the highest close in 15 months. And we played this 2 or 3 times. Now, the last time we did not play it on the 33s because the market was just dragging by so much. And look at the push now. It looks like it wants 40 and beyond. And there's other names too, even IBM. I know people don't want to think about it, but this is actually setting up here. Held the monthly. Can this finally get back through the 150? Something to think about. And SMCI, which I sold earlier this week on a little bit of a swing, still not making too big of a move. I'm wondering if this is one that I maybe take a swing throughout the weekend. Overall, it still looks good, and the market's continuing to climb. Let's take a look at some other stocks today that got hit. Unity gives probably one of the worst reports that we've seen all year, and yet it's back to 27, higher than the close yesterday. It went down on the first action about 16%. Today, from the open, it's up about 22%. This just goes to show you how much shake there is in this market, and it's tough. I'll tell you guys, when you're seeing this type of action, it's not going to be easy, guys. And there's just not one way of trading right now that's working. Industrials just taking off. Who would have thought that industrials would take off today? I'll tell you one thing. There wasn't many people that were thinking this move. Look at the move now going higher in GE. Honeywell with a big move up. Cat bouncing back today. Deere starting to work its way back up. We'll see what happens on XLI as that drove back to 102.50s. And it just seems to me like we have ourselves what? The Q4 rally, right? And it's coming strong. The only question is towards the end of the year, will we see that downturn? And I've talked about it. There is one report that's definitely on my eyes, which is NVIDIA. There's a reason why I couldn't go long it, right? I could see it that it went into this 400 first gap. We were talking about that for so long. I created this gap when? Well, I started talking about it on all the way back August 10th. We filled it. went higher. Now it looks like it wants to break 500. Looks like Wall Street is definitely putting on their buying shoes in Nvidia. And I think this has a lot to do with what? Well, the banks had it wrong in the first place. So they were looking at Nvidia at 600 and above when their earnings came out. And that was kind of the topping point when we were like up here to 500. But now they stepped in on the weakness and bought up tech. Let's just be honest. Microsoft leading the way. I talked about it when we did this box here. Would Microsoft lead the rally back and lead these tech names higher? This is what I should have been looking at that I admit I got a little wrong. I talked about it, but also didn't just focus on Microsoft as an indicator. And you guys can see it here. Look how it continues to take off. This is a change of tune. Of course, what happened last earnings? We were right here. We just blew through that today as Microsoft continues higher. And it very much could take Apple's spot on first place. We'll see what happens. But Apple also getting the love today. And I hope that you guys caught on Start Swing Trade because that was a clear, nice little setup here. I was talking about it on live trading that as we were starting to close up, that this looked like just pretty for it to continue going. And it looked like tech just wanted to rip higher. TLT going sideways today also didn't hurt it. Of course, we can keep our eyes to see if we start seeing that downturn in the TLT, but the strength was just riding high in technology. And you look at it here, every sector in the green in technology. Even solar caught some bounces today. ENPH up about 3.57%. Of course, this is not an area that I'd be looking at, but software application also ripping higher. Man, Uber, I was able to make a nice trade on Uber. I just got out of it just shortly before the show. But I was looking at different names here, and it just look at the rips that we're seeing out there, man. It's incredible. An incredible day by the Bulls just taking control. And what did they do? Well, they made it look like it was going to come down there at that 1035 and then just drove it higher. And that's a tough trade to get through. This is why retail sometimes, and I know that a lot of traders don't trade the afternoon, they trade the opening action. I'm starting to get more and more that the opening action is probably not the best time to trade. And I know that it might sound crazy, but lunch for me usually is a pretty good area for me to pick up a trend move like this and just ride it higher. So who knows? Maybe I start taking more and more trades after that 11 a.m. looking for this, because the truth is I'm still seeing the edge here as the algos took control and they just drove it and drove it and drove it. Look at the 9 EMA here, the light blue line. Look how when every time it pulled back, it got by the dippers, by the dip, by the dip. I mean, that is a rampant move higher. And this is the type of move that does what? Well, it just shakes all the bears out. Bears start to cover because they thought that this was going to start to turn after yesterday's turn down. They get squeezed out. Buying of stepping up here. And now where do we go? Well, 450s, 460s is in reach here. And I think that we might get up to the 450s, at least before the end of the year. And then we'll see what happens if we start to make a downturn. But coming back from all the way 410s and where the SPY was last year around this level, not looking too bad as we start to hold. And as long as we can keep above this exponential moving average 200, ain't looking too bad there. And 61.8% retracement seemed to be the key there on the SPY as 410s really held. And from that moment, we're up about 7%. When we dropped on that recent time, when we were all freaking out, about 5%, pretty much. Well, there you guys see it. It's definitely taking the lift. All right, days like today create poor market structure, pure manipulation. Jeff, the truth is that big money runs the market, not little money. And this is where we need to be thinking, Jeff. I know that you might put it to manipulation, but the truth is this is just bigger money. And bigger money is a lot of the times going to be buying the dip when a lot of the retail is running the other way. And I think that's exactly what happened here. Institutional action taking control. Expect the unexpected and think what I always like to think is, where's the big money looking at? Where's big money? Well, I can see it here. They're in tech and they're in the big tech names, not the little tech names. They're in these leaders, and the leaders just driving and driving and driving. Whether you look wherever you look here, look, Apple, this is an hourly chart, right? Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Nvidia, those stocks, even Meta, all have been ripping since the 30th. And that tells me, yeah, that's where they're hanging out, man. In the Magnificent Seven, the Elite Eight, whichever one you want to call it. But I'll tell you what, it's at the top of the market that's definitely driving. And there's so many stocks here, like AVGO. Look at this rip, straight rip to the upside. 958. I still remember when this stock ripped from 700 to 900. People thought that was way too extreme. Broadcom taking another level to 958. Adobe up about 3% and driving to new highs. Man, this was an AI stock of the year. Definitely in June. Still have that area circled. That's when I gave Adobe for AI as probably being one of the best stocks in AI, even when I was calling some AI names to come down. And that thing never came back to me. I always wanted to take it, but it's up 55% from there and continuing to lift. We'll see what happens with other areas, but definitely the strength doesn't slow down. AMD could easily be to 130, 150. Who knows where AMD is going to be? It could be right back up here towards where it was in 22. All right. And this also got started as financials got a little bit of a bounce. They definitely caught that bounce there. They're trying to bounce these banks and drive them higher. I personally would stay away, but hey, you guys know how I feel about the banks. They are trying to push here towards the end of the year, and I'm not going to get in front of them. That's one thing I'll definitely say. Cyclicals also are going to drive a lot of this, as I saw leisure start making a nice little lift. Booking getting a little bit of a push here. American Airlines was one that I wanted to take a little bit of a shot on today near the 1050 spot, right around this area, the 1053. Yeah, it's already up there towards 1180s. But to tell you the truth, I don't mind taking this play and maybe risking off the 1150s here for a nice little boost in the airlines. Of course, they've been, majorly hit, and they could get a nice little lift at least until probably December time. We'll see what happens as these stocks did push today. DAL not looking too bad off that 34 spot. Definitely starting to push now. And I don't want to miss all this action. So there's one way that I could go about it, right? Jets ETF, or maybe looking for a little bit of that leader laggard style trade. Even Love getting a little bit of a bounce today. I saw cruise lines getting a little bit of a bounce, Carnival Cruise Lines, Airbnb getting the push. So what I did is I went in on a swing trade for XRT. I've talked about this multiple times. I'm still holding this in the trade to pool account. And I got this right off the bottoming around the 59s. I even added below 59s. So now going to look for this to continue driving higher and showing that there's some big strength in retail. Even Target going up today tells me a lot there. So I'm going to keep watch on these, as I do expect to see some seasonality come into play. Ulta was one that I wanted to play today on some bottoming action. So let's go ahead. Let's take a swing on this. I've been waiting to try to take this. Of course, I have to risk down probably about $5 here. So I'm going to start with a smaller position here and look to maybe add to on Monday. But I just took a little bit there at 390.38. Let's see if this goes higher. This is not a bad one for me to kind of catch a little bit of a rounding bottom, a little bit of a next lift through 400 is what I'll be looking for. All right, let's keep going. Let's get into some other action. If you guys have stocks you guys want to check out, get ready, guys. I'm going to give you guys the last 10 minutes to drop tickers, and I'll take a look at the ones that you want to call out there. Real estate starting to even get a little bit of a bounce. That just shows you how strong the market is, because this was really getting destroyed. Office retail REITs still going down. I'm not going to touch that area by any means necessary. Energy getting a little bit of a bounce today, guys. Valero up there back towards 122.46. I'm thinking about adding to the short, guys. Right now, I'm at 122.79, and it's been up here a couple of times. But the only question is, do I add to it today or add to it on Monday as it starts to come down back through into the green? Is something that I'm watching. Yesterday, I was up on this one a pretty good amount. It's coming back to me. I'm still in the green, but definitely coming back to my price. All right, let's keep going, teams. I see some names mentioned. I'll definitely take a look at those Kyla Lilies. Stick around, and we'll definitely talk about the SPY coming up. And a lot of these oil names starting to get a little bit of a bounce. Can I trust this move? A little part of me does not trust the energy bounce. We'll see what happens there. Basic materials bouncing today. I wanted to get short some coal names here. We did get some bounces today, so I'm keeping an eye on this as an opportunity here. AMR goes above that kind of like 226 area, 230s, and then rejects that. That could be the last final kind of resistance, because a move back through this, and yeah, I don't want to be in this name anyways. So I'm keeping an eye on this, whether it be CEIX. I've also been thinking about shorting this one as it's been holding in here. I actually don't mind this one, especially as it filled the gap here, and now starting to reject that gap area, which is around the 96.20 area. And you can see it here. We're just starting to reject here at the end. And it doesn't look that good. It's definitely a little bit spread here. So to go after this is going to be a little bit tighter, as it has like a 20-cent spread there. How's AMR spread? A little bit tighter, but also pretty tight. I like the CEIX move. I just want to see a move right back towards like 98.88 here. If I can get any type of bounce, I don't mind taking a shot. So I'm watching it right now. Let's see if I can get a little bit of a bounce, even towards 95.80s. I will take a shot there if I can get the fill. All right, just got one fill there at the 95.81s on that last little bounce. I'm looking for another little bounce to get an add, but I'm taking the shot on CEIX to the downside. We'll see what happens on that one. Nvidia cannot be stopped. That's an absolute monster move. But the truth is, they do one bad report, they do one good report, it's going to change everything. And going after Nvidia now, up when it's up here towards 480s, at least in my book, I think you're doing it wrong. But then again, I've been wrong on Nvidia. Let's keep going, team. Let's see what else is being mentioned out there. Did Rivian come back? No, that didn't come back. Tesla? Let's see Tesla. A little bounce on Tesla today. It wasn't a massive bounce, right? It got up there probably about $5. Not too much there. All right, let's take some stocks from the chat. You guys got some ticker time here. We got 9 minutes left. Palantir getting a nice move above the 19 resistance. You guys can see right here. Nice little move. Now going back towards the high here, that 980s. $20 is the next stop for Palantir, but this actually doesn't look too bad. It definitely is on a nice little move. We're talking retail name here. Everyone likes Palantir, at least when you hear in retail. We'll see if this keeps going to the next level. Now I just wanted to hold 19s on pullback and continue the trend. So if it can pull back here, just wouldn't want it to break 19. All right, let's keep going. No one is right all the time. That's 100% Joe C. And the truth is, our job is not to be right all the time. Our job is really to be what? Nimble and quick on that opportunity as it presents itself. Nvidia, big move up. And that looks like it could continue to go. We'll see what happens. Like always, it's never going to go in one way. And we'll see when this turns around, right? I honestly don't see too much positive going into next year. But hey, to each his own, right? All right, let's keep going. We'll see some other stocks. You guys keep throwing up those tickers in there. I'll definitely take a look. Look at the SPY up there now to 440s. And are we extended? Yeah, I mean, I can show you guys that by using like an RSI on the 15 minutes. We're up there towards 86. Let's go to the hourly level. Look how this changed today, guys. The hourly on the SPY, on the RSI was coming down. And look at the wicked up action. That just goes to show you how extended we are to the upside. But that doesn't matter. Look at the Qs up there to 91.96. almost to the 100. If you see it here on the hourly levels, this usually turns around about the 95, 96 level. So we definitely are getting extreme, but I mean, that's as good as a ride as you get on the Qs. And you can see that light blue 9 EMA, slowly but surely, it held on every pullback. We'll look to see when the price action gets below that. That's the light blue line that you guys see right here as it trails the price action. That's the 9 EMA. Epic rally coming, see above website. I don't know about all that one, Medical. And you can't post a website, unfortunately. I don't think it'll go through there for you, Medical. You can let me know about it if you want. Where do you see Google going next? It seems oversold compared to other tech, and it's not oversold. It's just not moving as fast. Let's get to the action here that you've seen on Google. I'm going to take this off here so you can see it. You can see it here on the RSI, how it's oversold would be like down here at the bottom. That's where it bounced back. But now it's just been climbing its way higher. It's just a slow climb. And one of the things that I would say is this looks like kind of like that V bottom shape. So as long as you don't break this kind of recent down action on the weekly, 121.46, you're going to still be looking good to maybe get back there towards the 140s. I would be looking at Google to maybe clear this gap at first. Just clear the gap, right? Fill that gap right back. That's this gap back here towards like 136.50s, 136.30s. Let's see the low on there. 135.11 on the low on the wick. The closing action, the opening action was 136.36. So that's where I would be looking to see if you can get up to the first level for resistance. But Google, not a bad little move to the upside. All right, let's keep going. Have a great day. Oh, I'm getting a call there. I'll answer this in just a second, guys. I got, of course, a great show for you guys coming up after this. So don't go anywhere, team. We got a lot more for you guys, of course, right here on Benzinga. Coming up after this, you guys don't want to miss it. We'll be kicking it over to the Trade the Black podcast. Been talking about them. And if you guys want to check out some cannabis action, take a look into TrueLeave's CEO, as they'll be coming on just after this at 4:10. Stick around, team. We got a lot more for you on Benzinga. All right, smash the like, team. Let's see if we can see a little bit of a downturn here towards the close. It's 355. NVIDIA is starting to turn around there. Meta is starting to pull back a little bit, but what a ride up. What was your top mover of the day? Throw it up, guys. You still got a little bit of chance here. And appreciate the message, JS. And like always, it's crazy. It's crazy to see that kind of action. But the truth is that as long as the TLT can stay hot, and that's what we've seen when the action has come down on the TLT is when we've come down. This is what I'd be keeping my eye on, right? Can we hold this trend line, right? Can we keep grinding higher above this 87.50s on the TLT? And eventually going for a move back up through this 89.70, right? That's what I'll be watching for a move back up. If it gets through that 90, like let's say if we start seeing the TLT around here next week, yeah, we've launched on the QQQs, and that could mean we could be already back there towards these highs, to these July highs. That's not too far in reach. That's only 10 points away. And just to put it in perspective, I always look at average true range, and you guys can see the average true range right now on the daily is about 5.83 points on the Qs. We could be working our way right back towards that 388, and at 5 points, yeah, or 6 points, it's not going to take too long to get the Qs up to that level. All right, guys, you guys stay safe out there. It's 3:57. I'm going to wrap it up in just a second. Monday is going to be really interesting. Do you want to take a look at actualmonday.com? Or is that just something you were calling out there, Vic? I wonder. Monday is getting a little bit of a bounce. Nothing that it seems too interesting for me, but a little bit of a comeback there. There's just a lot of other names that I would be taking a look at. You can also just take a look at what's strong right now. There's very rare times where I'll take a look at like names that are just strong and seeing them push, but look at MicroStrategy. That thing's just taking off like a rocket. Of course, the price of Bitcoin helping that out. What is going on in Money Lion? This thing is just juicing up. I didn't expect to see that one. And this is the fun part of just searching by RSI, guys. You'll be able to find some names that you probably weren't expecting to find. Of course, I'm going towards a little bit of the bigger companies. This DSGX, really strong here in software application. So definitely catch those types of names. You never know what you might find. Unity, what a reversal today. Look at that bar. It's not the common strategies that are working. Reversals off of all-time lows, things like that is what I've seen been working. The contrarian play, playing by the dip opportunities. We'll see what happens there. And like always, a little zoom for JRP. And one day, we will make a video with a nice 911 turbo. The only question is, will it have some rubber when I turn it in? Let's go ahead. We'll wrap it up here, team. It's 3:58. You guys stay safe out there. Coming up next, of course, you guys will have that interview with the CEO of Trulieve. You guys know how I feel about cannabis. At some point, we're going to get that descheduled. We're going to get that federal legalization. And when that happens, that's when I've said I definitely want to not miss out on the cannabis opportunity, not miss out on the psychedelics. Because, man, they've been really kind of pushing on their studies and going to fight big pharma. I love that fight, especially against big pharma. So we'll see what happens there as we continue to see psychedelics develop. We see cannabis stocks. Get ready for the potential of what the DEA coming in and deschedulizing cannabis. That's what I want to see. The only question is, when that happens, what will that do? And how long will it take for these OTCs and MSOS to move on to the exchanges? Because that's really the next wave that I see. I always like to give you guys a little bit of insight in where I see investments. Like always, you guys be safe out there. This is for educational purposes only. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you next time right here, and catch up with me right now on the next show. I actually produce the Dales Report Trade to Black podcast, and I'll be hanging out there in the back, listening into the CEO's interview. Of course, Trulieve, Kim Rivers, up next on the Trade to Black podcast. I'll see you guys over there. Don't go anywhere, team. Stick around. There's more for you right here on Benzinga.